NFL playoffs are starting. The NBA reaching the midway point, things are starting to get interesting and serious, right? And you could make the argument this time of year is really the prime for watching sports. And so therefore you see TVs go on sale. Get the new big screen TV for the Super Bowl, for the big game, right? And I myself, man, if I'm not hooping myself or training, I'm watching or I'm gaming. And so I made my little splurge on an OLED TV 2 years ago or so, right? But there's nothing worse than buying a big ticket item and you look 3 months down the road and it's 60% off, it's 40% off, right? But that's always the case. You have to understand that that's the market value for it at the time. You got to buy at the right time, And this last summer, I think what you saw with the market value in the NBA, there were two contracts, Jordan Poole and Tyler Hero. Both got roughly $130 million. And people were kind of like, oh, well, that's kind of a lot there for a third guard, don't you think? But the thing was, their deals were in anticipation, did I get that out properly? Of the market value moving forward, right? And most of you guys are aware of what's happening here, but if you're not, I'm filling you in before we get into this. And the NBA is getting ready to negotiate a new TV deal here. It doesn't kick in until I think 24, but the negotiations are happening now. And what that means is more revenue for the league. And now all of a sudden, these contracts, the market value is going to change, right? And it's all relative. They're all rich, right? But they're about to be richer. And so what we're seeing here with these players that have a year left on their deal, or they're going to be unrestricted free agents, all of them are turning down extensions. Have you seen all the extensions that are being thrown out? Oh, Miles Turner, you want an extension? No, I'm good. Christian Wood, you want? No. Clarkson? No. We'll do whatever it takes, right? But they're waiting for the new market to be set. Why would they take a deal in this current market? Now, the counter to that from these teams they're like, all right, well, sign the extension or we're just going to trade you because we're not going to retain you. We're not going to pay some ridiculous amount. And so that's where things sit right now. And to add to that, you look around the standings, particularly the Western Conference, right? The whole West is hovering around 500. I haven't seen this much parity. I'm trying to think. It's been at least 10 years since there's been this much parity in the Western Conference, at least, right? So you have all these teams that feel like they have a chance or they may be one move away. And now are we set for one of the crazier trade deadlines we've ever seen? However, maybe it will remain stagnant due to the fact that all these players that teams are like, all right, fine, if we're not going to be able to extend you, we'll just trade you now. Are these teams that are trading for these players, is this essentially a rental? Because they're not going to sign an extension with them either. They're still waiting for the market. So maybe instead of it being an explosive trade deadline, everybody doesn't want to make a move because they're not sure what the value of these guys will be. Unless, of course, it is just a rental and they're swinging for this season. So it's just a very interesting situation. And I think we're going to get some trades here. So let's start with Miles Turner. It sounded like, oh man, Indiana, they're a playoff team as of right now, and they're going to extend him and all that. No. He's like, I'm good. Again, I already explained why, right? And this is a guy who has long been connected to the Warriors, more so from the fan base, right? We all see the fit, and it's like, oh, a rim protecting stretch center, he would fit, and how could you make that happen? And I'm sure most of you have probably jumped in the trade machine, right? Wiseman, Kuminga, and Moody. The kitchen sink of young players for Miles Turner, what is he? He's still in his prime, right? He's had some durability issues, but I think it's not that simple, right? Is it a rental? I think what we're going to see with these trades is that there's going to have to be an extension agreed upon in principle before the trade happens, because a lot of these players, in order to get them, you're going to have to give up a significant amount, more so than you would want to give up for a rental, if that makes sense, meaning just for the rest of this season. And so now there's going to be this negotiation. And so it's not as simple as just trading him. And now the Warriors have Miles Turner, into the future. No, there's a money issue. And I'm not sure that the Warriors, even if they were willing to trade the young core, I'm not sure they're willing to pay what Turner's going to command this summer in free agency in this new market. But Turner is one of the players in this trade market who could change the landscape of contention. The Clippers also seem to be very interested in Miles Turner and have been rumored to be connected with him. If the Warriors or Clippers could get a hold of Miles Turner, again, I think that changes things when you're looking at the West. Let's look at Jordan Clarkson. Now, this one's a little funny here because now he has a player option next year. He's not going to opt into 14 mil, not in this new market, right? And Utah has been very insistent on, we're not coming off of Jordan Clarkson. We'll do whatever it takes to retain him. Now, that to me, I think is them trying to maintain their leverage, right? Danny Ainge, they're trying to maintain trade leverage because the reality is, I think it makes sense. Clarkson doesn't want to play in Utah. Just like Donovan didn't, I doubt Jordan Clarkson fits in well there. You know what I mean? Despite him really playing his best basketball of his career there. Maybe if the bag is big enough, but then now, so if Utah were to, I'm kind of all over the place with this, right? But let's just say they throw him a serious like lead guard franchise bag. Now you've messed up. Like at what cost? So I'm not buying into the fact that Utah is not willing to trade Clarkson. I think they're just trying to maintain some leverage. You've heard him connected to the Lakers. Reuniting in Los Angeles, a place where he'd probably want to extend, right? But I'm not sure that I don't know. I guess it fits. It makes sense. I'm not sure that Clarkson is a swing something in the West like Miles Turner would. He still is a scoring third guard, but he's at the top of the food chain when it comes to that. Christian Wood, same situation in Dallas, right? And we know Mark Cuban don't play. It sounds like Dallas is going to make a big move here. Tim Hardaway Jr. is being rumored all over the place, right? And Christian Wood, he turned down the extension. That's not going to happen. And Jason Kidd seems to not really like him anyway, right? And so I think we could see a big shuffle in Dallas. You hear the murmurs of like, how long is Luka going to put up with this, right? He's having to do too much. I don't know what the move is there, but I expect Dallas maybe to get the ball rolling with the trades, right? There's always like one big trade and then things start rolling and everybody kind of waits. I think Dallas might be the team to get the ball rolling this year as far as the trades go. To me, though, the man in the center of this thumbnail, Bogdanovic. Is it Bojan? Bogdan's in Atlanta. Bojan is in Detroit. Not that they're related, but the same last name. Bogdanovic, to me, much like Miles Turner, is the other guy that could really change the landscape of contention right now. Stretch four, not pure shooter, can handle the ball, operate out of the pick and roll, and then with his size and savvy and really just his competitive spirit, he's more than adequate defensively. It's not like he's going to get played off the floor. You can leave him in big playoff matchups late in the game. And what he does for any team is he automatically changes the geometry of the floor at the 4 spot. That's the key. You say, oh, you get a shooter. If you get a shooter who's 6'6", 6'5", right? That's far different than a guy that can play the 4 spot. He could probably play small ball 5. And so, listen, man, if Cleveland, obviously interested, Memphis, if one of those two get Bogdanovic, man, that is, in my eyes, going to change the power rankings of contention and who I think the favorites should be. And so the question is, with Bogdanovic, Detroit, they're probably not going to be interested in anything but a player on his rookie deal with a lot of potential, so a young, good player, and draft picks. So that may limit what you're going to give up for him, or who can make bids for him, I should say. But yeah, I think Miles Turner, if he were somehow to end up as a Warrior or a Clipper, that could change things. And Bogdanovic, if he's somehow in Cleveland or Memphis, and I haven't even mentioned Phoenix, who is stumbling right now and probably with the Crowder situation. There's going to be a lot of stuff, man. I'm excited for it. But what do y'all think? I know this has been going around Dub Nation for a while, this Miles Turner talk. Would you give them all 3? I think I know your answer, right? No, not Kuminga. Well, it doesn't. You're going to have to give up Kuminga, right? I agree. I'm not sure I'd want to do it either, and I'll tell you why. I'm not worried about the money. Like, I'm sure Lacob can come up with the money. It's Miles Turner's durability, and he's one of those guys where you watch him move up and down the court and his gait and his step, and you could see he's not built for the long haul. He's not built for longevity. He carries his body kind of weird. That said, I do think the Warriors need to make a move, right? You saw it against Orlando the other night, the lack of size. And don't feed me the James Wiseman story anymore. I'm not. It's not. You think Kerr's going to put Wiseman in the fourth quarter of a playoff game? So leave your proposed trades in the comments. And as always, hit the like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.